Fractures in the morning light. Morison-Kingsman sat up slowly on the larger bed, his bare feet pressing against the smooth, cool surface of the black-tiled floor. The tiles, laid with precise but unpolished craftsmanship, carried the faint chill of the early morning and the faint grit of dust tracked in from the compound outside. Day 36 had crept in through the 2 GMP and glass windows, where ash-white curtains hung loosely, swaying gently like weary sentinels. The crimson, pink, and ash walls absorbed the pale light, creating an atmosphere that felt both alive with color and muted by unresolved tension. This self-contained apartment, once a promise of stability, now bore witness to the quiet unraveling of their lives during the long 90-day journey toward Port Harcourt. The dream from the night before still clung to him like the metallic rust scent drifting from the cracked iron bar back door. Its bottom edges were corroded and flaking, a constant reminder that even functional things decayed if neglected. Whatever you have done before, you will do again, especially something bad that you did with a good reason. This, his own favorite proverb to his third wife, replayed in his mind with merciless clarity. The boardroom confrontation, the staged assassination, the older woman's mocking laughter, followed by the younger woman's chilling reversal. It all pointed to the suffocating legacy of the old patriarch. Morison-Kingsman had been raised by that name, shaped by hidden truths and calculated deceptions dressed as duty. Now, the discovery of his secret affection for his third wife and stronger bond with her family, concealed visits and parallel life threatened to define his new choices. He stood, the black ties cool beneath his soles, and moved toward his bag. Judith was already active in the unfinished kitchen area. The hiss of the camp gas stove filled the space as she boiled water. No greeting, no eye contact. The cold distance that had settled since June 1 remained unbroken. Morison-Kingsman retrieved his toothbrush and slipped through the cracked iron back door into the small outdoor space. The rusted bars scraped lightly as he pushed it open. The morning air was sharp and fresh, carrying the scent of wet earth, distant wood smoke, and the faint sweetness of morning dew on nearby plants. He brushed his teeth methodically, his thoughts spiraling deeper into the dream's implications. As father in 2 other separate families, he had mastered the art of redirection, harming others while claiming protection of the tribe. Morison-Kingsman saw the same pattern in his second family. The visits to Elele justified as responsibility. The partial truths offered to Judith reframed and framed as peacekeeping. The business failures rationalized as temporary setbacks on the road to success. The new tribe he desperately wanted to build, a family rooted in open communication, unflinching truth, and consistent service, felt increasingly elusive. How could he break a cycle woven into the very name he carried? Judith emerged from the kitchen, carrying the steaming kettle. She poured the hot water into the small black plastic bathing bucket with practiced efficiency, her movements precise and self-contained. She bathed first, the sound of water splashing against the unplastered walls echoing from the back door behind the kitchen, not the unfinished bathroom. The new door, fixed only the previous day, stood solid, but behind it the walls remained unplastered, raw concrete exposed like unhealed wounds. The space still carried echoes of its former life as a cluttered room, stacked with forgotten items and unresolved mess. When Judith finished, she returned to the main room, oiling her body near one of the GMP windows. The ash-white curtain brushed softly against her arms as morning light filtered through the glass. Morison-Kingsman followed, bathing with cold water, as was his custom. The shock of it sharpened his senses, goosebumps rising across his skin. While he washed, Judith attended to her sediment, the boy's soft sounds drifting through the zinc walls of the adjacent general bathroom. The child's presence remained the only consistent light in their fractured kingdom. Dressed, Morison-Kingsman gathered his phone and power bank into a small white nylon bag and left the apartment without farewell. The walk to Amgor's Hotel on Mountain of Fire Road felt weighted. The road stretched ahead under a sky that was already gathering clouds, the air thick with the scent of morning fires, frying beans, and passing vehicles. At the hotel, he settled into a quiet corner, plugging in his devices while his mind wandered through extended reflections on legacy. The name Morison-Kingsman had once been a source of pride. Now it evoked the domineering shadow of a father who lived one life publicly and another privately. The psychological toll of the discovery had been profound. Sleepless nights, replaying childhood memories, wondering which moments were genuine and which were performances. His own restlessness, repeated business failures, and spiritual crisis at 33 now appeared as echoes of inherited unrest. He had revolted against fate after 30, pushing through ventures that dissolved like mist. Success remained a mirage, and death had refused his earlier wish. The extra years, it seemed, were for this reckoning. Hours slipped by. Hunger finally drove him back. Judith and her sediment were at the shop. He collected the key with few words, returned to the apartment, and ate the leftover rice from the pot. The black-tiled floor felt grounding as he sat. Afterward, he left the door open for the plastering workmen. The new bathroom door stood ready. The raw walls awaited their covering. He informed Judith briefly at the shop, then retreated again to the hotel as clouds darkened. When rain threatened, he collected the gas cylinder and Judith's market bag and returned to the apartment by 4 p.m. The rain began in earnest, drumming against the front corridors and filling the bathing buckets laid out under the outside roof's edge. The workmen arrived and began plastering, their tools creating a steady rhythm that filled the crimson peak and ash space. Judith returned early by 7 p.m., soaked and irritable. She complained sharply that he had not helped steam the meat. Morison-Kingsman offered the noodles he had prepared earlier, pressed into bread as sandwiches. She accepted, steaming the meat while making tea for herself and her sediment. They ate in near silence on the black-tiled floor, the meal simple yet heavy with unspoken words. By 10 p.m., Judith and her sediment slept. No proper dinner had been prepared. The rain had trapped her earlier, preventing further shopping. Hunger stared Morison-Kingsman again. He moved quietly through the doorless entrance to the unfinished kitchen and cooked noodles soup with baked gari. The warm aromas filled the apartment as he ate alone on the edge of the larger bed, the black tiles cool beneath his feet. He reflected deeply until 11:33 p.m. The weight of his old life with his first wife pressed upon him. His earliest attempt at fatherhood had been marred by a habit of justifying every wrong with good reasons. Morison-Kingsman feared the same cycle with his second wife, yet the dream suggested possibility, a staged unmasking leading to justice and renewal. Perhaps these fractures were necessary. Communication, truth, and service could still rewrite the narrative. Outside, the rain continued washing the compound. Inside, the crimson pink and ash walls stood as silent witnesses to a man wrestling with inheritance. Day 36 had ended not in triumph, but in quiet, determined reflection. The journey toward Port Harcourt and toward a new tribe continued, one deliberate choice at a time.
Je cherche un homme, un homme, un homme, un Pierre, un Paul, un Jacques, autant